GIS is a computer system capable of assembling, storing, and manipulating, analyzing, and displaying geographic reference information. Okay. Now, GIS is Geographic Information System. Okay. And now, if you look at, if you draw in AutoCAD, right, you draw a different kind of geometry. Okay. You draw geometry, and then now the difference between what you draw in AutoCAD and what GIS, when you sketch something in GIS environment, is the ability for you to add information, attribute information to it. Okay, that differentiates the geometry. If not, the same way you sketch in AutoCAD or in any other drawing software can also be, that's what we do in GIS. Okay, but we have the room of adding information to it that make it a geographic information system. Okay, GIS stands for Geographic Information System, and it combines data technology, software, and GPS to aid the analysis and display of spatial reference data. Okay, now we'll go to the next slide. Who we are. My name is Agbo Sunday. I'm a team lead of CAD Social Technology. I'm a member of NIOB that I study building. I'm also a member of NCA, Nigeria Cartographic Association. And then I'm also a member of JOSON, Geoinformation Society of Nigeria. Okay, I'm a CAD and GIS consultant to Kaduna State Government. Okay, we use GIS to actually digitalize land administration in Kaduna State. Okay, and who are we as a CAD technology, CAD social technology? We are CAD and GIS technicians, serve as consultants to various construction companies, help people with research. For example, if you have a GIS project or a CAD project, any form of project we help you, and then we teach GIS, we organize workshops. Okay, I'm actually hurried this because this is not what we're supposed to waste time on. GIS experience, as I said, we use GIS to run land administration by digitalizing land administration process. As you can see, this is a parcel of land that has been subdivided into different plots, okay? And each of these plots is being attached with an attribute information, okay? Like the name, possibly the file name of that plot, the name of the owner name, the location, and the land size and all that, okay, is attached to this information, okay? And then we also, as a cost of consultancy services, we also use GIS for building development control. Okay, so and then all this is being done using the software called QGIS. That is why we recommended that you should install the software. Okay, now in using GIS either for construction management, either for facility management, either for building development control, either for land administration system, you need visualization, okay? You need visualization. This is 3D visualization on Google Earth for development control. For example, how do we do that? Now from the Google Earth, you can actually visualize this. Definitely it's not a real-time data, like it's not immediate, like not that, as you can see, maybe if you view on satellite image and then you see somebody standing here, that does not mean that the person is standing at that point, because we are using a free version of the Google, right? Except when you pay for the license, Google can give you a direct capture from the satellite where you can get a real-time data. But this is there is a rotation of the satellite, so it is being captured. Okay, so it's not 100% in terms of the reality as of whether it's real time or not. But one thing that we actually, our consideration as a facility managers or as a construction professionals, one thing that we put into consideration is having those informations. For example, you are managing a particular facility, let's assume this estate, this filling station that is here. You want to know all the facilities you have in that police station. So you can actually access them, okay, from using your GIS environment. Okay. All right. So these are some of the things. For example, you can take the height of this pole. You can know the height of your building. You can know the access road. You can know everything from here, and possibly the position, the location of your structures and all that. Okay. And any dimensions that you do using the satellite image is a real-time dimensions. Okay. Even though you go on ground, that is what you still get. Okay. So that is what you need to understand from them. What is QGIS? The software that we are going to use. In fact, in case if there's any confusions, please you just put you can put your question down. You can ask at the end of there will be room for that. Okay, so that will not waste time, because I actually want us to go to the main thing that we are here for. Okay, what is QGIS? QGIS is quantum GIS. You remember there are a lot of people that actually chat me up. They have ArcGIS. Some says they have ArcGIS already and all that. Yes, ArcGIS is another software, for example, which is designed by Esri. Like AutoCAD is designed by Autodesk, right? ArcGIS is designed by Esri. Okay, now. And based on the fact that ArcGIS is designed by Esri, that is to say, is owned by a company and is licensed, you have to pay for it. Okay, either you pay for it or use crack version. Okay, most of the software that we use, sometimes we actually end up using the crack version, because possibly you're unable to pay for the license and all that. But now the advantage of this QGIS is that it's free, okay, and it's open source. Right? You don't need to pay for any license. You don't have any restriction. It gives you room for you to add your own plugin. For example, if you are using some software that require add-in, you can add your own features. For example, if your area of GIS that you are using is for land administration, you can add plugins, tools that will make your work fast as a land administrator. If your own function is for facility management or an estate management, you add your plugins that will make your work fast. Okay, and all these plugins, you have access to them free without subscribing, without paying for them. Okay, so that is one of the advantages. And based on the fact that if, as a company or as an organization, if you start maybe using crack version, okay, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't go well as an organization to be using crack version, because the company owns the software, can actually sue you. Okay, so and then in terms of buying the license, okay, when you are deploying technology to an organization or to a particular location or to a people, you look at the sustainability. Okay, you look at the sustainability of that technology, because, for example, if you say, okay, in this particular estate firm, they should be using GIS to manage their estate, or this is an agent, normal agent, person that is into housing agent and all that. Just need a simple system that can be installed in his office, and he can be able to track all his tenants and all that. Now, if you install this technology for them, they'll definitely like it. But when it comes to the issue of paying license every year or something, it's discovered at some point, some of them will actually give up in using the technology. So at some point, when you are deploying technology, you look at the sustainability, how you make it easy for the people that will be using it. Okay, these are the reasons why we end up on QGIS in any of our deployment, or any of our innovation, or any of our technologies or application in terms of GIS. So we are using QGIS, quantum GIS. Okay, all right. And why using QGIS? Because, as I said, it is free, and it's compatible. It's compatible with Windows, Linux, Mac, and any other operating system. The technology is sustainable. I just talk about it. I just talk about the sustainability, and then we'll talk about the users friendly. Okay. All right. What can you do with it? Pretty much everything. You can do everything. For example, if you have used ArcGIS before, Anything you can do with ArcGIS, you can use QGIS to do. Different functionality available as well because it's built on their own. Now, for example, you can as well develop your, let's assume you are good in Python or you're a programmer, you can also develop your own plugin and it can be added to the software as well as a plugin. So you have the room for that. Okay. Now look at the way we use GIS. For example, you can use GIS for tracking of roads. Maybe you want to go to particular locations and then you want to know the traffic level. All these things is something that we use our phone or our Google Map to actually do it. Before we use our phone to do that already, and then we'll talk about the traffic mapping, and then we can also use it for flight tracking and many other aspects that we can use GIS. Okay, I've already defined GIS in different formats. Okay, but all I know that GIS skills are literacy. Okay, GIS is a very important tool that every profession needs to know. Okay, no matter your field, you need GIS. Okay, then what does it look like? Okay, now one thing about GIS is that it works. If you remember, if you use Revit. Okay, if you use Revit, you do layers by layer. Okay, we do layer by layer. So now in GIS it is layers. Okay, it is layer. For example, now for example, if you have, let's say we have map of let's say map of the world. You know, for example, now you cannot put map of the world on top of map of Nigeria, right? Now, that is to say that map of Nigeria will be on top of map of the world, and the map of a state will be a map of Nigeria. Okay, now that is how you arrange layers in GIS. Okay, all those things we are going to practicalize it. I'm just using that as a way of explanations. Okay, so GIS data are arranged layers by layer. Okay, just take note of that. And what can you do with GIS? You can do everything, as I say, show you where things are, because mainly the importance of GIS is locations. Okay, that locations, and then show changes over time, track changes, show changes over time, track changing data. Okay, as based on the fact that you are viewing different data, it show changes as time goes on. Okay, all right. See and communicate meaningful patterns in your data. So depend on the level of the data that you acquired, but you know that you have to, acquire a lot of data for you to have a meaningful information from your data. Okay. Now this is a property of real-world geographic information system. This is, for example, this is a parcel of land being digitized, but at this point, it's not a planned layout. Okay, it's not a planned layout like the first one I showed. So it must not be a layout, or it must not be an estate before you can have an attribute information. For example, there's an environment that is already being built up. Okay, you don't actually need to demolish. Okay, to start planning them. You can actually get all those informations for you to do your proper GIS data. And at the same time, maybe for agricultural purpose, you can also use this kind of method, cluster digitizing, to actually manage your agriculture. For example, if you have a particular crop in many places or something, or a place that there's a farmland and then have that is being allocated to different farmers and all that, you understand? So GIS in the aspect of agriculture can be used, and then you can digitize something like this. When I mean by digitize now is drawing a line, drawing polygons, or drawing a point, or putting a point. Okay. Now GIS data is divided into two mainly. We have the raster data and then we have the vector data. The raster mainly is an image. Okay, like satellite image is a raster. Okay, like an old map that is being georeferenced or being scanned and bringing back to your GIS environment is a raster. Okay, so any image is a raster. Okay, any image that you bring in, mainly anytime you are bringing image to GIS environment, that is to say, is serving as a base map, right? It's serving as a guide for you, right? So all those things are classified as a raster. For example, even satellite image itself is serving as a base map for you, right? It's serving as a guide for you to see where there's a road, where there's a building, where there is this and that, right? Now, when I talk about vector, vector is divided into three, which is point, line, and polygon. If you draw with AutoCAD, all right, you agree with me that no matter the shape or what you draw in AutoCAD 2D, is either you are using line, point, or polygon. Okay, these are the three geometry that we use. All right, so it's either what you draw is a polygon or is a line, no matter the shape of it, it's either it's a line, polygon, or point. Now that is how it is in GIS. So your vector is either is a line, point, or polygon. Okay, and then we have the real world data, where we're talking about some of the analysis that will result to the real world informations. Okay, now we talk about the resolution. You know, if you look at, there's some map or there's some satellite image that you view that you see some, maybe when you are zooming it, even in your phone, you see that some are not clear, or you see that maybe when there's no network, you see that they load grid by grid like that, like the way you are seeing this image. You see that some are clear, some are not clear. This is the different resolution at which, depend on the speed, the kind of system you are using and all that will result in your visualization. Okay, so there are some times that even when it is not clear, it might be the network or it might be your system speed and all that. Okay, so resolution is actually very, very important in GIS. Okay, then we talk about location, because in geography we have done this longitude and latitude, north and east and all that. Okay, the Cartesian coordinate and all that. Okay, we have to actually put that into consideration here as far as the GIS is concerned, because we are dealing with locations. Okay, because for you to manage an estate or manage your facilities, you must put that location into consideration. And then we talk about, when we are talking about location now, then we take us to what we call CRS, coordinate reference system. We have different coordinate reference system. I want you to actually, possibly, if you can just jot down some of those points so that on your own, you can go through it, and I'll still try as much as I could to explain as much as we could, because the reason why I'm rushing this, I just want to give you a brief explanation of GIS, then we'll now go to how we can use the software to do the facility management. So now, CRS is coordinate reference system. Okay, so every point on this earth have a number, right? So it has a coordinate, and then it has a reference at which those numbers are being generated. That is a coordinate reference system. Okay, so we have different coordinate reference system. You can search for them. Okay, and then I talk about what make it a GIS because of the attribute information, so because of the information you are attaching to it. For example, you are having a point here, and then you see this point now having all this attribute information, all this attribute table attached to it, telling you, okay, the point number, the age of that particular point, depend on the information that is being transferred. So if you put a point, you can actually display a lot of information. Maybe you are talking about a particular school, you can talk about, okay, when that school was created, when the size of the place, the location, the number of teachers, the number of students, and all that. Okay, these are all the attribute information you can add. Okay, we talk about GIS projects. You gather data, oftentimes the hardest part of the project, right? Getting the data. Then how can you get your data? You can get them from an online site. For example, we have Grid3 as an example, grid3.com. You can actually go there and download a lot of data. Okay, you can get your data from remote sensing. You can get your data from satellite image or satellite space. You can get your data by digitizing the old map you have. I'm talking about the old map, and scan them and you reference them. You can get your data by gathering them yourself, go up and down and use your either your GPS or ask a question about some certain things, and then you gather it yourself. Then we talk about data storage. Occasionally, massive amount of data are used. Storage can be an issue. So sometimes in GIS, actually, we have a lot of data. So data management is actually very important, and then have enough space to actually keep your data. Okay, and then this is the kind of self-help, how you can be able to learn some of these GIS. These are few sites. All these slides can be sent to you. These are few sites where you can learn more about GIS, and then we have GIS documentations. And then if you want to learn more about QGIS itself, you can follow us up on our YouTube page. You can search on YouTube page, CAD Spatial Technology, on our Facebook. Okay, you can join our next online weekend GIS training, and then you can ask question anytime that you are confused, because based on the fact that you have been our student, now you have room to ask question anytime that you are confused about anything. You can send me your message and all that, and then you can visit our training center. We have our training center in Kaduna State, so you can visit us if you are around Kaduna. Anytime you find yourself, you can visit us and ask any questions that you want to ask. Okay, thank you very much for this. This is the end of this particular slide. We'll go back to our next slides before our next 45 minutes. I'll go to share the next slide. Okay, now this is our next slide. GIS for facility management. This is actually the main thing that we're supposed to do today, and we have kind of go through GIS general and overview. Okay. If there's any question, as I said, you can ask. So you can send in your message, or you can jot it down. When there's room for that, you can ask. Okay, application of GIS for facility management. For property management, GIS can be used to track the ownership, location, and condition of a property in an estate. This information can be used to manage rental agreements, collect rent, and identify properties that need maintenance. Now, for example, you have a property somewhere. Let's assume you are an estate manager, and then you have the properties along different locations, right? Now, what GIS will help you do is that it will help you to map out those locations. We talk about satellite image, right? And then we talk about having vectors, polygon. You see how we digitize land administration process, right? Okay. Now, GIS can actually help you to GIS can actually help you to actually map out, for example, in a particular location, you have, let's say, let me use states, because I don't want to use location here in Kaduna so that you will not get confused. Let's assume you have so number of properties in Lagos. You can digitize those properties at the same exact location, and then attach the name of the occupant, the tenant, the number of rooms that is occupying, all the facilities that is inside is a particular building, so that it will also help you to know what that is already in that building. Okay, so that when you go for a kind of site inspection or something, you actually make sure that all those things that were there before is still there, or if it is not there, there must be a reason why it is not there. And the same thing apply to even some of those things that you have outside the building, or possibly within an estate. It will help you to track it, because you are going to digitize all of them. For example, you have a generator post here, you digitize it. You have maybe a water tank in social location, you digitize it and attribute it as water tank. Okay. So anytime you log into your database, you see all the information as required in that locations. Okay. So now, and then you can do what we call tenant mapping, where you can now map out all the places and then attribute the persons that owns the persons that is occupying that particular building. And at the same time, you can set up a trigger that can actually prompt you when the rent is supposed to be paid. Okay, all will be done using the attribute information or attribute table. Okay, now we have facility management, right? We're talking about property management, then the facility management itself. Now, GIS can be used to track the location and the condition of the facilities in an estate, such as road, sidewalk, park, and playground. This information can be used to prioritize maintenance and repair work and to identify areas that need improvement. For example, now I made mention of satellite image. All these things can be done. You know where there's road, you know where there's maybe there is a particular bridge or there is a drainage or there is this, understand? You can actually visualize this. You can actually take measurement. Maybe you see that, okay, this particular road, this particular place, there is a pothole and all that. You can take all those informations from your satellite image without necessarily sitting beside. If you want to know the roads, all the roads within your estate, you don't actually need to go to the site to start measuring. You can use satellite image to measure all those things and have your data. You don't need to travel all the way from Abuja to Lagos just for you to take measurement. Okay, you can sit down in the comfort of your office using satellite image, using Google Map, or any other form of satellite image providers that you can actually use to bring out your data using the GIS tools. Okay, I believe everybody is following because we are talking about the application itself. This is what we are supposed to be doing. Okay, now for security, GIS can be used to track the location of security cameras, for example, within your estate or within your facilities, within your factories, within your company. As a facility manager, you are in charge of managing the security, right? Now you actually use GIS to map out the locations where the security camera can be placed, or your CCTV cameras can be placed, and then you know the location of all the CCTV cameras. Because, for example, in a big environment or in a big factory or a big estate where you place enough, there's no way you are going to remember all the locations in your head that, okay, I once placed, okay, there's one camera at this point, there's one camera at this point, you understand? So when you have GIS now, when you are using GIS now, you can now map out all those things, you can digitize a particular point where you put your camera and then indicate maybe camera 1, camera 2, camera 3. And it also help you to actually check for maintenance, okay? To actually check, okay, go this place and check this camera, is it working? Okay, and at the same time, you can also link it with your visualization of your camera so that you know, okay, this is from your map, now you know this is this, and then you know how that particular camera is being viewed, the length at which it is being viewed, or the coverage of that particular camera, okay? So that is one aspect that we can use GIS for estate management, for estate or for facilities, for security in facilities, okay? Because when we talk about security, we have GIS for security management as well, which it covers a lot of approach, you understand, a lot of things, again, a lot of technologies to actually manage general security, okay? And then we talk about planning. GIS can be used for planning for future development of an estate. This information can be used to identify areas that are ripe for development. As a GIS managers, you can use a satellite image to know area for situation of your new situating your new estate or your new property. For example, you are building an estate, you are an estate developers, you want to target areas that is you think that you want to put your new estates. Okay, from the satellite image you can see the cluster. When we talk about the cluster, how people live, because from the satellite image you see the settlement, how people live there from the roof. Okay, see the number of buildings in that place. So you know, and then you know the distance from where you are proposing to possibly some facilities that is required for people to, that will prompt people to actually pay for your estate and all that. Okay, so that is GIS for planning. Okay, all right. So then for marketing, GIS can be used for marketing. GIS can be used to market an estate for potential residential or investors. This information can be used to create interactive map and visualization that showcase the features of amenities of an estate. Now, as an estate manager or as a marketer, if you have an estate that you want to market, you use GIS to actually create a good visualization of that your property so that you can market it. Okay. At the end of this session, before the next session, I'm going to share a video of how we use GIS to market our properties here in CAD Structure Technology. I'll share a video of one of our properties that we market with GIS technology, so that you look at it on your own. You can actually do the same. It's a very simple step which we are going to cover. I'm going to share this link before the next section so that you view it, and then if you have any questions, you ask about it. Okay, so this ends our first section of this today's training. So I'm ending the meeting now, and then we'll join back in the next in the next 5 minutes. Okay, so that by then, before that, you can actually on your QGIS so that we go and then we'll do a brief explanation about that for today. Thank you. See you in the next 5 minutes.